Yes. Welcome once again, everybody. Cannabis News with Joe Klare for July 25th, 2018. Presented as always by the Marijuana Times. Check us out on marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab on marijuanatimes.org to find this show. Check out the articles, social media networks, all that stuff. Of course, we're back on YouTube. If you didn't know, subscribe to us. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. You can also search the Marijuana Times on Apple Podcasts to get the audio-only version of the show for those of you on the go. Today, we're talking about Vermont. There's some controversy surrounding gifting, the gifting of marijuana in Vermont. Something we've talked about before, but now in the context of Vermont. Also, a weird story out of Georgia about marijuana and what's being put in to hide it. The kids these days are putting marijuana in things to hide them from their parental units. Talk about that. Also, we'll go to Ohio. We haven't checked out what's going on in Ohio for a little while. The medical marijuana program there. And spoiler alert, there's problems. There's problems. We'll get to all that and more coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside and their line of organic, all-natural pesticides. Nature-side.com. Side is spelled C-I-D-E-B. Safe, grow safe, and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you are growing in. Don't use harmful pesticides for many reasons. Not only you don't want people to not to ingest those things, you want to be regulatory compliant in your state. That's why you need to check out Natureside. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. This first story from Julia Granowitz over at marijuanatimes.org. In Vermont, gifting cannabis with a service or product is still illegal. July 1st, it became legal for adults 21 and older to possess and cultivate cannabis in Vermont. Many of you know that. You also know that there are no legal regulated sales of recreational cannabis in Vermont. So it's caused some who would like to sell cannabis to get a little clever, put in a little ingenuity into what they're doing. That's something we've seen in other places like Washington, D.C., places where there's cultivation, there's possession, but sales aren't legal. So what people do is they say, oh, well, I'll sell you this T-shirt. This T-shirt's worth $10, but I'll sell you this T-shirt for $60, and you get a T-shirt, and you get an eighth of cannabis. But the eighth of cannabis, well, or the quarter, whatever it is, whatever makes up the rest of the money, that's free. You can do that. Well, that is not going to fly in Vermont, at least according to Vermont Attorney General T.J. Donovan. He was given an interview. He said, quote, "You can gift marijuana under the law. What you can't do is a gift coupled with a financial or commercial transaction. We think that's a sale consistent with legislative intent. So he put out guidance that is illegal under Vermont law." And the thing is, you get into a weird area where it's like, well, what constitutes coupled with a sale? What if they bought a T-shirt for $60 and they came back in 2 hours and you just gave them some weed? Is that what's the cutoff? There's also so many problems when you legalize possession and you legalize cultivation, but you don't legalize sales. You leave a whole part of the tripod is gone. And you basically just have drug dealers who have carte blanche to sell as much as they want, because the only actual illegal thing is the actual transaction of marijuana. The people leaving with the marijuana, they're legal. If you're growing it in your basement, you're legal. The 2 seconds it takes you to sell it to someone, that's the illegal part. And dealers who are already doing all of it illegally, they're going to be fine with just that few seconds. It's not a big deal. And then you have people who want to sell it, and they're going to try to come up with these ways, and they're going to keep pushing it. And they even mention it here in the article. They are going to have to keep on top of this. They say they're going to be coming against this problem again and again and again until the legislature does the right thing to pass a reasonable tax and regulate bill, which is true. You got to have sales. Without it, you just have a hole and you have problems. You have problems you have to deal with. You can't focus on the legal regulated market because you got people who are saying, well, they came back 3 hours later and got the weed, so it's not a transaction. They came back the next day and got the weed, so it's not a transaction. It was just a gift. It was a gift. I was so appreciative of them buying a $60 T-shirt yesterday. I gave them some weed. And it's unnecessary. Just legalize sales. You won't have a problem. Then people can sell it. And you want your precious tax money. That's what they want. Their precious tax money. So get it. It's not that difficult. This next story is from Fox 5 Atlanta.com. It's rather a funny and interesting story. Police say marijuana is being disguised as bacon. That's right, bacon. Duluth, Georgia police have a warning for parents after they found a disturbing new way for teenagers to disguise drugs in their own homes. This thing is written very dramatically. It's really good. This would be a good story to put to animation. A really dark, scary, reefer madness propaganda animation. Body camera video shows how police discovered, while searching a teenager's book bag, a plastic container that looked like a package of bacon from a grocery store, but held a half an ounce of marijuana. Police called the bag a, quote, stink sack, purchased and used by marijuana smokers to hide the pungent smell. This is the first time I believe we've been in contact with something that's disguised weed, said Officer Ted Sadowski. The parents would never know, he said. Really? This is the first time? Is that... I mean, they've sold stash jars online for years. I see them all the time. They look like, you can get them, they look like Coke cans. There's like a Coke can sitting there, but you screw up top of it, your stash is in it. These things have been around forever. Kids have been figuring out ways for decades to hide the smell of weed, to transport it places. But this is something they think that they have broken. They've broken open this case. Broken it wide open. They're using little bags of bacon. You see the picture there, B-A-K-I-N. You stick it in there, it smells like bacon. The discovery happened the afternoon of July 14th off Summit Ridge Parkway. It's like they're describing a murder scene. As police say, they spotted a male and female teenager engaged in indecent activity. Oh, no. The plot thickens. One officer reported he smelled the possible presence of marijuana, and after the teenage driver allowed officers to search the vehicle and his book bag, discovered traces of marijuana on the seat and the bacon-disguised bag full of weed. This is a real news story. I swear it is. The teenager, 18, was placed under arrest, while officers said they have seen basic black stink bags of marijuana during drug operations. Sadowski shows Fox 5, a website full of other stink sack bags, looked at us. Stink sack bags disguised to look like wallets, mail, bread, and other household and grocery items. So they did eventually get on the internet and see that these things are available for sale widely. They'll ship them anywhere. They don't care. It's dangerous what your kid can get into buying stuff online. Oh, really? Really? I think there's a bit more dangerous things than your kid buying a Coke can to disguise their bag of weed to make it look like there's just a Coke can sitting there. There's more dangerous things on the internet that your kids can get into. I wouldn't be worried about stink sack bags designed to look like mail. What does that even mean? It looks like a package? Like an Amazon package? Or an envelope, like a letter? What does that mean? Anyway, or other household or grocery items. You just don't know. You don't know what's in your house. Run to your children's rooms and search. If it looks like a Coke can or a piece of mail, don't be fooled. They're just trying to disguise it. They're trying to keep it from you. That's horrible. Oh, kids these days. Kids of my generation, we were, much more straight edge. We were squares compared to the shenanigans and tomfoolery that's going on with these kids. It's crazy. This last story is from Cleveland.com. Ohio's medical marijuana program faces more delays. That's right. Can you believe it? Ohio's fledgling medical marijuana program is facing additional administrative hiccups that could further delay the program's rollout statewide. The program will miss the September 8th deadline to be fully operational per state law because cultivators have only been given the okay to grow plants in recent weeks. And as we point out on the show here, that's a vital part of the selling of the marijuana is the previous having grown it. If you haven't grown it already, you can't sell it. Several other parts of the program are also falling behind schedule. The patient registry will not open as expected in the month of July. State law allows patients to obtain doctor notes that can be used as an affirmative defense from prosecution for possessing marijuana and paraphernalia while the state sets up the highly regulated market. But the problem is the affirmative defense letters expire 60 days after the patient registry opens. So they're afraid if they open the registry too soon, there's going to be a gap where people they don't have the defense anymore, but also they can't get their card. They can't get it from any dispensaries, so on and so forth. It's it's not going well. Lawsuits and allegations of corruption, problems with the scoring of the cultivators and delays at each step of the way with cultivator licenses and the processor licenses and the retail licenses, and just, I don't know. It's not quite Oklahoma level, but it's definitely Florida level incompetence and problems when it comes to the medical marijuana program. And worse, I guess, so far than Arkansas, although there's some the hiccups in Arkansas as well. So I don't know. I'm not going to go into my big issue 3 spiel. You've heard it. Issue 3 would have been much better. But no, this is it. That's what Ohio gets. You're stuck with it. If you voted against issue 3, I don't want to hear it. I was here. One of the few people online, I will rant a little bit. One of the few people online publicly behind issue 3, I got slammed for it. I told better things were coming next year. All that was crap. I was right. They were wrong. I don't get to point that out very often, so I'll point out it in this instance over and over again. No, I'm right quite a bit. I shouldn't sell myself short. Thanks everybody for checking out the show. It's past midway now through the week. Go check us out on marijuanatimes.org. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, on their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos, and continue to spread the word about cannabis news. Please continue to do so, and we will see you next time right here on Cannabis News.